So after watching last week's video about the types of data I need to collect, now I actually have to think about what sort of equipment and arrangements I need to actually collect this data. Being prepared with the right type of equipment, skills, and knowledge is critical for preparing and planning and executing a field expedition. There are really three major parts to any field expedition. There's the planning, the execution, and the problem solving, of course. Planning an expedition to a remote location can have some major challenges. We know the kind of data we need to collect, so we have to begin by figuring out what sort of gear we need to collect that data and to keep us safe, warm, and well-fed. This is usually the part in the process when I buy a new field notebook. Field notebooks are the best way to stay organized. I have lists of the things I need to buy for gear, the types of data I need to collect, people I need to get in contact, everything. So field notebooks are critical to making sure that an expedition goes right. Planning a trip goes well beyond just thinking about the things you're going to need. You also have to make contact with local landowners and figure out the logistics for once you're actually there. In the Falklands, this means contacting local landowners to make sure that it's okay to do work on their property. It also requires figuring out transportation. In the case of the Falklands, this means contacting the local flight company in order to arrange small flights from island to island, getting in touch with a ferry company and making ferry reservations, and also making sure that I have an off-road vehicle I can use for getting to some of the more remote locations that aren't accessible by plane.
We are at Spring Point Farm.
Niall is zipping ahead on this dirt bike.
And Kit is off-roading.
So planning ahead really ensures that I'm able to collect the data that I need in order to carry out my research project. So executing the expedition is really the fun part. This is what all of the background research has built up to. The expedition, as you can imagine, is my favorite part of doing science. While in the Falklands, we'll travel from island to island, doing shovel test pits, collecting cores, and looking for fossil whale bones. We'll get to interact with local landowners, camp, and experience the ecosystem that we spend the rest of the year thinking about from a desk on the other side of the globe.
Raindrops going about 70,000 miles per hour.
It hurts! It feels like hail.
If all goes well, this is the part of the process where we get to collect the data that will help us finally solve our problem. That being said, this is the part of the process that can also come with a lot of major challenges. If you're in the field, in a remote location, and your equipment breaks, you can't just go inside and get more equipment. You have to figure out how to fix that problem. In the Falklands, one of the major challenges is weather. If the wind is too strong or too weak, or is even coming from the wrong direction, that might mean that we're not able to take our flights from island to island. So you can imagine that having a flexible schedule is pretty important, which can present a challenge when you're trying to plan ahead with local landowners about what dates you might be at their property. It's always important to plan ahead and be prepared for whatever challenges you might have. When you're doing research in a remote location, or in another country, or in a remote location in another country, chances are you only have what you brought with you to work with. So it's important, again, to plan ahead and be prepared.